areas a shot of the bleachers. And just before we get going, here's a last reminder of your lineup for SuperPole. It'll go in reverse order that you're seeing on screen. So Robert Pietsch will go first. Then it'll be Dominic Greiner. Then Mazzeo, home favourite of Italy. Imagine the cheers if he takes this one out. The home fans have already got Balestri as the TQ. If they can add Mazzeo as the SuperPole winner, they'll go home very happy tonight. Simon Kurzbuch of Switzerland completes the lineup. The 1/8 world champion. So let's get ready as the marshals head out onto track now. The bleach is almost entirely full. This is probably one of the fullest, one of the times that the bleachers will be at their fullest for the entire weekend outside of the semi-finals and final. That, for me, is why I really enjoy the SuperPole session. It adds a real big match dynamic and intrigue to the event. I think I can also see Julius Groschkamp has just taken his spot in the bleachers as well. So a lot of the drivers sitting back and enjoying this one. These RC races, you've got to admit, they are RC racing fans first and foremost. They love the business. They love what they do. And the amount of hard work that they put in for them isn't work. So for moments like this, they enjoy being fans again. And we really enjoy being the broadcasters. So, are we ready? SuperPole is about to commence. So here begins SuperPole. Any second now, SuperPole will commence live on RC Racing TV. A SuperPole session for the IFMAR 1/10 IC Track World Championships 2016. And a hush descends across the venue. That's what's fascinating to me. It's an atmosphere like no other. As the officials and the referees down there concurring. We have what looks like 3 of the 4 cars there. Which one are we waiting for? We're waiting for Kurzbuch's car by the look of it. But he'll be going up last, so that's no worry just yet. And away goes Pietsch. These laps won't be timed straight out of the gate. So Pietsch will have a couple of minutes of warm-up before going into his time laps. There's 1 minute of warm-up, I believe, and he'll normally time it so it ticks down straight into the session. Through the HBI hairpin. Through the IFMAR turns at the end of the lap. And away we go. Still on warm-up at the moment. Hasn't started his first laps. Through the HBI hairpin once more. This is the silence and the hush that falls across the facility in SuperPole is something else. It's the circuit commentator ramping up the energy as well, but the silence in the crowd is something else altogether. So Pietsch is coming around. He's still on warm-up at the moment. Should put 102.4 kilometers an hour on the speed trap at the end of the straight. No worries about top speed whatsoever. Flying down the main straight again. 30 seconds to go.
Those of you racers can actually hear the car shifting into second gear. It is actually into second gear now, just before he gets actually onto the main straight.
It kind of shifts it up into second in the second part of the IFMAR turns at the end of the track, at the end of the lap. So that's the top speed they're onto. I think this time around will be the start of his time laps. Oh no, he's in the lane. So he'll come around this time and start the laps. He's just getting some fuel in the car, and he set up changes. Some any adjustments there? Doesn't look it. Fuel goes in. And fuel is now going in. So, these guys have 5 minutes to complete their laps. But they should easily do that. So, 6 laps for Robert then. For Pietsch. And he'll start the first of those this time around. Away we go. I'm loving the circuit commentator here. He's ramping up the enthusiasm as if there was any need. He's really getting into this. No question. But here comes Pietsch then for his first lap around. What does it look like? It looks pretty good, a 16.775. But that's a good, off the top of my head, 4/10 slower than anything we've seen, than some of the fastest laps we've seen around here so far. Normally the first lap acts to get your eye in. You start to come good around the third or fourth lap. 16.778, so not improving that time. He's using these early laps to get his eye in. Normally the best laps come in your final two. It's the trend I've seen. Ruling lap 3, 16.8. He's actually going in the wrong direction, Robert Pietsch. This is not what he wanted. He needs to find some additional speed from somewhere. Oh! And he gets out of whack. That lap's going to have to go in the bin. So that's lap 4 done. And still not the best we could have seen from Pietsch. He'll basically throw that one out. On his current pace, I just think the guys behind him are just going to be quicker. Going round for lap 5 of 6 then. Under the timing board, a big slide. 16.891. He's actually going in the wrong direction, is Robert Pietsch. Something doesn't appear right on that car. I don't know if they changed something for SuperPole to go for the outright fastest lap. They seem to be waiting alongside. What's this final lap look like? This is his last chance. Oh, and he crashes off the final corner. Goes down in style, and it's a 16.749, so that's his best lap. Still in the 16.7s, though. So there's Pietsch's lap on the board. 16.749. That's his best run. And that's the figure. That's the benchmark that's been set. Dominic Greiner is straight up on the driver's rostrum, ready to go. The bleachers are packed almost full. And people lining the fences here. But, so Dominic Greiner, ready to go. The TQ from the 1/10th European Championships in Turkey last year. We know this young man's got a huge amount of pace in that car. We know he's got a huge amount of drive and energy. He's conferring with his crewman down in the pits. He'll have a few minutes of warm-up, of course, just like Pietsch did. And then get going. And he'll know exactly what the benchmark is. And I'm fairly certain he'll be confident at least of beating that. As I say, some of the fastest one-lap speeds we've seen out here this week have been down in the 16.3 and 16.4 bracket. We may have even seen faster than that. But 16.7, I just don't think will be fast enough. I think guys will find a way to be quicker than this in this SuperPole session. Pietsch will be waiting nervously. He'll be waiting with bated breath, as will everyone. As the legendary Michael Salvin moves around in the pit area. Team Serpent head honcho. Ready to watch one of his top guns out there. Probably his best. The guy he has the most confidence in taking home the World Championship for Serpent. Greiner makes his way out onto the circuit. And away we go. He'll have a few laps of warm-up to start with. Just as Pietsch did. And the sun's kind of flitting in and out at this point in time. As there's very, very light clouds just blowing through. There's not a huge amount at all. Through the HPI hairpin once again. Onto the main straight once more. Wide line out of the final corner. 102.4 kilometers an hour down the main straight. Love the addition of that speed trap on the main straight. Greiner just being a little bit cautious in these opening laps, these warm-up laps. There's no need to use up all your stuff straight away. He's just getting his eye in, just building up the intensity. He's being very neat and tidy. He knows exactly where every apex is and just how much to kiss each one. Nice tight lines. real contrast to some of the Japanese drivers we see out here. Are very exuberant. They don't mind having the tail out on their car a little bit. European style can be a bit more dogmatic, a bit more about hitting every apex right on the button, being neat and tidy and very compact with your lines, making sure no additional tenths of seconds go begging. And in a session like this, you need every single hundredth and thousandth of a second. Pietsch clouts the Greiner, clouts the apex there a little bit too much. Just I'm talking about him being very neat and tidy. He comes through the Shepherdess, and he should be about to start his laps. And he's second now. He'll have one more lap of warm-up. He comes into the pits. That seems to be the strategy. Come in just as the timer ticks down to 0. So the timer starts. Greiner is back out. Didn't look like he needed any setup changes. He's underway on his time lapse. So here we go. This is where it counts. This is where it really matters. A shot, a guaranteed spot in the finals at stake here. What's Greiner's opening salvo like? Now his time lapse start. My apologies, I got ahead of myself. And he got out. Now he completes his first time lap. Of course, now he's triggered the trap. So what's his opening salvo look like? Oh, it gets a little bit skew-iffy in the final few corners, but he's already faster. He is already quicker than Robert Pietsch. Greiner assumed that spot. I told you that Pietsch's 16.7 laps would just not be enough. As the Italian commentators here at the circuit are really ramping up the energy. Not a good lap that time from Greiner. He does not improve, but a 16.557 is his opening salvo. And it's a very good one. He's getting more and more aggressive with those apexes. He needs to be careful with those. He's just hanging the rear end out just as much as he can. A 16.469 is improved further. Another tenth of a second off. Greiner hammering home his advantage. We knew that Pietsch's benchmark probably would not be enough. Greiner smashed that within a lap. And is now setting about moving the benchmark ever higher for the two drivers still to go. What this time around? 16.5, not an improvement. But he's got that 469 in the bank, which is a really, really good lap to have out there as a benchmark for the others to try and hit. Greiner comes around. What about this lap? Is it any better this time? Oh, he got loose out of the final corner, but it's the 16.467. He's improved by 2 1,000ths of a second. And trust me, in these SuperPole sessions, that can be all the difference, Frank.
Yeah, that's a scary moment there. You wouldn't want to be in the car for that.
No, of course not.
That's
and
what Nick calls a tank slapper.
Indeed. And, well, that caused his final lap to kind of go awry. But in the end, a brilliant run from Greiner, and he sets the new standard for this SuperPole session on a 16.467. Remember that figure very closely, because that's what everyone else here, the final two guys still to go, Alessio Mazzeo and Simon Kurzbuch, are going to be aiming to beat.
I've been a bit busy making some things for later in the day, but why isn't Pietsch's time showing on the timing?
It tends to be deleted after each one goes away. It's a bit disappointing. That's why I'm having to write them down.
Right. Okay.
But I have them all to hand as Mazzeo.
Writing them down with your swank new HPI racing pen?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. They have very nice pens as well.
On the notepads provided by Shepherd Micro Racing.
Indeed.
And, of course, we're being fueled today by Runner Time Fuels.
Yes. Although we aren't literally drinking fuel.
No.
That would be kind of strange. We'll wait now for Mazzeo's warm-up to begin. 16.467, that's a good standard, I have to say. I never thought that Pietsch's time would hold up, given the fastest we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've been looking at other things, so I haven't been following exactly who was going to be in the SuperPole. So I'm a little surprised that Pietsch was in there, but yeah, Greiner's time is gone now. So unfortunately, the live timing isn't really being all that helpful. Yeah, someone's noting in the comments, my RCM doesn't solve the problem of SuperPole calculation. It's true. It's suppose it's something to do. They'll have to fiddle around with something, but we are getting the computer timing. It's just the timing that's showing on my RCM which is replicated with what you see on the screen now, it's not really showing all the information that we'd like. So I'm sure they'll be sorting that now that there are 2 classes running SuperPole.
As Mazzeo continues his warm-up. They have about, I believe, about 2 or 3 minutes of warm-up. Same as in the qualifying rounds. And Mazzeo was second in qualifying overall before being bumped down to third with a poor final round. But Mazzeo's definitely been on it this weekend. It's been, I tell you what, the home fans would go berserk if they got 2 of their guys into the final. 1 through TQ and 1 through SuperPole. That'd be quite something, really. So Balestri will be watching on as his countryman aims to join him in tomorrow's final. This avoids all the pratfalls that can fall these guys. Of course, these guys don't make it through SuperPole. They have a semi-final to get through, but any number of things can happen in that semi-final. Problems on pit road, problems, incidents with other cars. A lot can happen. So these guys can win SuperPole and get straight into the final. It is a major fillip. So, into the pits then. We'll just have a little bit of a top-up of fuel. Or really, doesn't even need a top-up. Checked and goes away. So, this lap won't... He'll come around and start his time lapse. So, through the HPI hairpin then. He'll come through the IFMAR turns and start his run. And away we go. The theatre and theatrics of the Italian circuit commentator really matching the spectacle that we're being provided. Alessio Mazzeo in the bright orange car starts on his time lapse. What's his opening salvo look like? A 16.513 straight on the pace. Great start from Mazzeo. All he has to do now is find about half a tenth. A tenth if possible. And he goes into the provisional SuperPole with a big spin off the final corner, but it did not affect his time. He still went fastest. He spun off the final corner and he still went fastest. He puts a new fastest lap on the board of 16.399, going backwards across the timing line. There's Italian flair and flamboyance for you. Brilliant. Absolutely marvellous. That was wonderful. He comes around again and does not improve that time, of course, because he was recovering from the spin. But, oh my goodness, that was wonderful stuff. What a way to go fastest. He wins the style contest, I've got to say. Very flamboyant driving style. The tail wiggling all around. It is great, great stuff. He's coming around to complete lap 4 this time. He does not improve that time. 16.565. It's because he was going the right way across the timing line. That's clearly his issue. But, absolutely marvellous stuff. Franca, do we have a replay of that?
Yeah, we'll do it after his
Yes.
After his run.
Here we go.
So we get everything.
5 laps around, 17.858. It has not improved still. I think that 16.399 is the best we're going to get out of Mazzeo, but it still sets the benchmark ever higher. His car is moving all over the place. It's dancing through the corners.
It's on a knife's edge.
It
Looks
really
like.
is on a knife's edge.
And it went off
and another
again.
crash across the line. But another improvement. He's done it again.
Amazing.
How does he keep doing this? This is remarkable. He goes faster still with a 16.302. Backwards and upside down across the line again. Spectacular.
Let's see that first replay.
Here we go. Here's the VRC Pro replay of the first fastest lap. And he just clipped the inside apex. Oh, he just spun there. Backwards across the timing line and goes fastest.
That's like a Gran Turismo move right there.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Remarkable, remarkable stuff. And I'll tell you what, Simon Kurzbuch beat that. Because that was a brilliant lap. And everyone has improved so far. And Mazzeo, the fastest so far. Each of them putting a good few tenths on each other. That's been the utter levels of beatdown. Normally, SuperPoles are so close. But so far, there has been actually gaps in the sort of tenths of seconds between each driver. Will Kurzbuch continue the trend? Do you know what? I think Mazzeo's time is almost a bridge too far. But if there is anyone here who's going to be able to beat that, it's going to be the reigning 1/8 world champion, Simon Kurzbuch, who was also our TQ in the 1/8 European Championships in Eskilstuna in Sweden. And he was also a TQ last year in one of the 1/8 or the 1/10 European Championships as well. I can't remember which one. I think it was the Turkish one, or he won the SuperPole there. He is experienced, ice cold, super cool, and made for these kind of big occasions. So away goes Kurzbuch. He knows exactly the task ahead of him. Clips over the rumble strips and the apexes. So driving for our sponsors, Team Shepherd. Clipping the apexes and the IFMAR turns. We'll have a few minutes of warm-up here before getting on with the business at hand. He's very much like Greiner. He's got a nice kind of aggressive edge to the compactness of his lines. Very precise, but just knows when to push the envelope. And really, after Mazzeo's balls to the wall efforts we've just seen, Kurzbuch's going to have to produce the lap of the gods here to take SuperPole away. Mazzeo's time was one of the fastest we've seen all weekend. And Kurzbuch's going to have to go some to beat that. 1 minute to go now for the warm-up. Simon Kurzbuch, the 1/8 world champion, has big game experience on the biggest stages of all. Looking to add a 1/10 world title alongside his 1/8 world title. If he wins this SuperPole, he takes a big step towards achieving that goal. Can he do it? A minute of warm-up to go. His laps will start anytime soon. He'll probably come back into the pits at the end of this lap, just as the timer reaches 0, and then head out and start his time lapse. A little bit wide through the chicane there. Just needs to be a little bit tighter to the apexes. He keeps going. He keeps going. He obviously has time to spare. Who would have thought single car qualifying would produce so much tension and nerve-shredding action? And I've got to say, when Mazzeo put those 2 fastest laps on the board, the whole of the bleachers off to our left, the left of our commentary box, absolutely exploded. Everyone on their feet, everyone applauding, huge cheers. Can Simon Kurzbuch be the home favourite heartbreaker? We'll find out in about 30 seconds' time. Through the chicanes, he will start his time lapse when he crosses the timing loop, which, just to remind you, are right there. Right under the green scoreboard, those are the timing loops. So Kurzbuch's on his time lapse now. He has a 16.302 seconds to beat. In the hands of Mazzeo. Oh, very loose through there. It won't be done on this first lap. Very loose in the rear through the chicane. That's quite unlike Simon. His cars are normally very planted, and he's loose again. That's very unusual, you know. The rear end of that car is not cooperating right now. It is slipping around a lot. So that first lap's a bust. 17.487. You feel like Kurzbuch just has to get it together quickly, because the rear end of that car looks like it's moving around far too much. It just doesn't look stable at this point in time. Onto the main straight. What was that lap like? 20.6, but again, he had to slow to a stop on the first lap. So now he only has 4 laps. He's effectively lost his first 2 laps. So Kurzbuch only has 4 bullets left in the chamber. What's he got this time? This looks like it will be his first fully clean lap. Coming through the final corners. What's that like? 16.555. That's a lot better. He's right up there in the mix now. He goes 3rd fastest. He needs to still find 2.5 tenths to knock Mazzeo off and progress into the final. Can he find it this lap? What does he do? Onto the main straight, 16.498. It's another improvement. He has 2 laps to go. He's really still got to find a lot in comparative terms, but he is moving ever closer to that mark. Has any of his final 2 laps got enough to knock Mazzeo off the board? What about this lap? 16.824, going the wrong way. He's got 1 more chance. The home fans are getting ready to cheer if Kurzbuch does not improve. Mazzeo is going to be the SuperPole winner. What's Kurzbuch's final lap looking like? This is it, all or nothing. Across the line, 16.467. It's not enough. It isn't enough. And it's a dream for the home fans. They have 2 of their representatives in tomorrow's main final for the IFMAR 1/10 IC Track World Championships. Dario Balestri through as TQ and Alessio Mazzeo as their SuperPole winner. What a time to be alive for the Italian fans. And the bleachers all cheered as soon as Kurzbuch came across the line. And also, what's worth noting is that Greiner's best lap was exactly the same as Kurzbuch's best lap, down to the 1,000th of a second. So how they settled that particular tiebreak, I'm not entirely sure. But Frank, once again, SuperPole delivers the goods in spades.
Yeah, that was pretty intense. I was kind of busy with some doing some graphics and stuff like that. But yeah, it was pretty good. I've got a Kurzbuch's second lap. I've got a replay of that.
Okay,
VRC
let's
Pro
see
replay.
it. The VRC Pro
just
replay.
him coming onto the main straight. Here he goes. He's not even hitting anything. He's just getting the rear end is just stepping out, and it kept happening in the runner time turn as well. The first corner, the big sweeper at the end of the main straight. So, yeah, quite interesting. I wonder if that was down to a setup change or what. I mean, he wasn't appreciably slower in his final run. I don't think so. I don't think he would do a setup change, but it could be possibly down to, I don't know, maybe. Possibly down to just a different diameter on the tires or something like that. So anyway, yeah, we'll be